It's that time of year to celebrate the best releases across the metal spectrum. Today, we look at the top 7 avant-garde metal albums of 2022. How do you create a shortlist for a genre that's hard to define and has no agreed boundaries? Does something qualify on the basis of being weird and abstract? To draw up our contenders for 2022, the artists had to meet the following criteria. The songs follow unorthodox structures, they take inspiration from non-metal genres, non-traditional instruments are often an established part of the sound, the music is aggressive and or heavy, willingness to experiment with multiple sounds on one record, and it could fall into at least 3 subgenres of the metal spectrum. Unlike last year, we include post-metal bands in the shortlist for 2022, as this genre is as close to avant-garde as it gets without earning the name. For the record, we did not review the new album from Kenmo, but we acknowledge its excellence and originality. Likewise, Conjurer's progressive sludge metal does not qualify for this list, although it meets a lot of the criteria. Think of our current definition as a spectrum from left to right, with the highbrow experimentation of Celtic Frost on one side and the bizarre, genre-hopping madness of Mr. Bungle on the other. Everything in between is what we looked for when deciding on the contenders and narrowing them down to a shortlist of 30 records. These are the Scream Blast Repeat Top 7 Avant-Garde Metal Albums of 2022. At number 7, we have Hostile Architecture by Scottish collective Ashenspire. They released it on the 15th of July via Oral Records. First thing we must do is dispel the notion that Ashenspire play black metal. Their music is far too sophisticated and much scarier than the infantile Satanism that pervades through extreme metal's most saturated genre. What could be more dangerous to society? Harmless Lucifer worship, or an earnest veneration of socialism in the perceived era of late-stage capitalism? This is metal of the art school, where neurosis meet thy catafalque. You could even call it black and post-hardcore, like a metallic interpretation of the shape of punk to come by Refused. Verdict? 8 out of 10. At number 6, we have South African post-metal dreamers Constellation with their album Magisterial Romance. They released it on the 11th of November via Season of Mist. The unsatisfactory label of black gaze does not apply to Constellation. They draw from the same influences as Death Heaven and Alcest, but inhabit a fluorescent post-metal paradox that never fails to move you with its awesome power and purpose. Like their debut, this album exists on the basis of 4 long-form compositions spread over 38 minutes, all of which flow like the stunning waterfalls of the Jonkershirk Nature Reserve in their native Cape Town. Verdict? 8 out of 10. At number 5, we have Italian art doom quartet Messa with Close. They released it on the 11th of March via Smart Records. Nothing in the doom metal scene sounds as unique as the bewildering invention on display here. This is a progressive metal record where Al-Andalus meets Byzantium and modern England. Close demands your attention and imagination. It allows you to daydream on its terms, but never independent of them. This is sophisticated metal music that draws its power from the art gallery and biblioteca as much as the furnaces and factories of Western Europe. Verdict? 8 out of 10. At number 4, we have Teleurgang by anonymous Dutch duo Knekelput. They self-released it on the 25th of October. What's the definition of a cult album? Surely one recorded 15 years ago and left to gather dust under a cloud of self-doubt and mental struggles. We have no idea why the Dutch experimental duo of Knekelput decided to put their art in the public domain this year, but we're all the richer for it. Whether released in 2007 or 2022, Teleurgang sounds like nothing on this planet. The metal world needs artists that have no regard for rules or conventions. Knuckleput are the type of band that experimental jazz musicians can enjoy as much as the black metal crowd. Verdict? 8 out of 10. Coming in at number 3 is Violate Consensus Reality by Belgian trio Psychonaut. They released it on the 28th of October via Pelagic Records. The Psychonaut sound finds purpose somewhere between post-metal and prog metal. This is music for the overthinker, the person who is neither left nor right-wing, who operates within the system but could tear down the edifice of everything he built in a moment of colossal self-destruction. A Psychonaut composition presents the conundrum of man climbing out of the quicksand rather than succumbing to its lethal abyss. Keep this image in mind as you experience closing track Towards the Edge. It might be close to 30 minutes in length, but it represents a triumph of the individual over the ecosystem that threatens to overpower him. Verdict? 9 out of 10. At number 2 is Legacy of Ruin by US avant-doom trio 8 Bells. They released it on the 25th of February via Prophecy Productions. Defining the enigmatic sound of 8 Bells will tie you in knots throughout the 45 minutes of Legacy of Ruin, but think of it as an ethereal doom metal take on Swans with the unbridled aggression of Neurosis and the funereal sorrow of the early Cure albums. There's always the danger of harm at the back of your mind from an unknown and unseen assailant. The band sense this in the unease of their musical dynamics. We shall all perish in the end, and this is the record that can prepare you for the afterlife. Verdict? 9 out of 10. Which brings us to number 1. Drum roll, please. At number 1, we have Ooh La La by French weirdos Transat. They released it on the 1st of April via Chromosphere Records. They look like they're warming up for a Weezer support slot, yet they sound more like a progressive version of Faith No More. Now on their 3rd album since appearing on the scene in 2016, the Gallic Quartet have the heavy metal rulebook in one hand and a map of the world in the other. Ooh La La is a prog metal opus that will catch you off guard like a prodigal member of the family you last remember as a quiet child. How did something so impressive appear from nowhere? Verdict? 9 out of 10. Congratulations to Transat for landing the number 1 spot. Let's also recognise the 5 honourable mentions that nearly made this list. They are Cherry Blossoms at Night by Box, The Long Road North by Cult of Luna, Shiki by Psy, The Chronicles of Manimal and Samara with Trust No Leaders, and the self-titled album from Zeal and Order. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, and more importantly, please visit our website at www.screenblastrepeat.com for the latest album and EP reviews from established, up-and-coming, and unsigned artists in the worlds of extreme metal, prog, and dark alternative.